On September 3, 2025, 3 of the world's most sanctioned leaders walked the red carpet in downtown Beijing, shaking hands before sitting down. Below them, something unprecedented rolled through Beijing's morning drizzle. China's entire nuclear arsenal on display simultaneously. From land-based ICBMs that can reach Montana in 30 minutes, to submarine missiles lurking 6,000 miles from American shores, and modified bombers circling overhead with nuclear payloads, China's transformation into a military superpower appeared complete. However, what remained absent from Tiananmen Square should have Pentagon officials far more concerned. On September 2, 1945, the American battleship USS Missouri became the stage for Japan's formal surrender to the Allies in Tokyo Bay. When the news reached China the following day, celebrations broke out across the country. For the citizens, this marked far more than the end of a world war. It was the end of nearly a decade of occupation by imperial forces. As China rebuilt and expanded tenfold in the decades that followed, this anniversary, officially known as Victory Day, was celebrated with growing ceremony. By the 1980s, the government had expanded it into full-blown parades, with tanks, missiles, and aircraft replacing the ragged columns of the wartime armies. But the 2025 version would become the most elaborate commemoration yet. On the morning of September 3rd, following an early drizzle, loudspeakers began playing martial music, heard across the rows of chairs filled with guests, soldiers, and veterans, all ready to witness China's latest military parade. Only days before, President Xi Jinping spoke of his vision for new global security and economic order, stating, quote, "We must continue to take a clear stand against hegemonism and power politics and practice true multilateralism." However, it was the unprecedented image of 3 world leaders chatting and shaking hands as they strolled along Tiananmen Square's red carpet that sent the strongest message of defiance to the West. At the very center of the reviewing stand were President Xi Jinping, jacket buttoned high, flanked on either side by Russia's Vladimir Putin and North Korea's Kim Jong-un. Around them sat more than 20 other leaders, mainly from Africa, Central Asia, and the developing world. When Xi stepped to the microphones, ready to begin the ceremony, the crowd fell into silence. In his opening remarks, Xi stated that, quote, "Through immense national sacrifice, the Chinese people made a major contribution to saving human civilization and safeguarding world peace," and that the People's Liberation Army had always been a, quote, "heroic force that the party and the people can fully trust." Finally, once he'd retaken his place on the reviewing stand, the same platform where Mao Zedong had declared the founding of the People's Republic, the first rumble of engines reached the grandstand. The 80th anniversary of Victory Day was about to begin. The 70-minute V-Day spectacle featured over 12,000 PLA troops marching in perfect formation. Every single moment was photographed, and for good reason. The 2025 parade became the first time China unveiled its complete nuclear triad, land, air, and sea capabilities in a single event. First on the line were a series of heavy launch trucks, each hauling missile canisters marked with the PLA's red star. On board were the DF-61 and DF-5C intercontinental ballistic missiles, the land-based leg of China's nuclear arsenal. The DF-61, the newcomer, is a road-mobile missile capable of striking anywhere within the continental United States, while its Cold War-era companion, the DF-5C, has been thoroughly modernized with precision guidance and multiple warheads. Next came the JL-3, the nation's latest submarine-launched ballistic missile. Mounted on trucks for the display, with a reported range exceeding 6,000 miles, the weapon strikes across the Pacific from Chinese coastal waters, matching the reach of America's Trident II missiles launched from Ohio-class submarines. Finally, overhead, the H-6N bomber thundered past a Soviet Tu-16 design, refitted to carry long-range nuclear missiles, completing China's third pillar. Beyond these strategic weapons, China also displayed a series of new concept weapons, starting with the YJ-21 hypersonic missiles. Nicknamed ship killers, these can streak toward naval vessels at speeds exceeding Mach 5, too fast for current defensive systems to intercept, making them particularly dangerous for the U.S. Navy's carrier groups patrolling the Western Pacific. The nation also rolled out the LY-1 laser system, a truck-based laser designed for shooting down drones with directed energy. However, The most surreal moment of the morning came with the appearance of four-legged machines, resembling science fiction mechanical dogs, marching past the reviewing stand. These unique robotic units can perform reconnaissance, transport ammunition, and support infantry operations. And while most nations remain wary of implementing artificial intelligence within their defensive systems, China proudly showed off a series of drones with AI-enhanced capabilities, like the GJ-11 Stealth Unmanned Combat Air Vehicle. Its flying wing design echoes America's X-47 prototypes, and it's promoted as a loyal wingman, able to fly alongside man fighters, coordinating movements and strikes in real time. As the last formations cleared the square, a group of J-20 stealth fighters streaked past in diamond formation, followed by August 1st Aerobatics team trainers trailing colored smoke across the Beijing sky. The crowd rose to its feet, clapping in unison, every single one of the participants clearly remembering the president's opening remarks when he stated, quote, "Today, humanity is again faced with the choice of peace or war, dialogue or confrontation, win-win or zero-sum, and that China will, quote, firmly stand on the right side of history." When images of China's parade reached American viewers, reactions were mixed. The following day, President Donald Trump posted a message on his social media that read, quote, "May President Xi and the wonderful people of China have a great and lasting day of celebration. Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America." In response, a Kremlin spokesman responded that no one was plotting anything, and even suggested Trump was being ironic in his remarks. To some analysts, the 80th Victory Day parade warranted skepticism. As analyst Tom Caraco put it, quote, "How much of this is really real? How much of this is not just fielded, but has a high readiness level and all that sort of stuff? Or is this a Potemkin parade?" Yet many observers saw the parade less as a capability demonstration than as calculated messaging. According to Jennifer Parker, quote, "You don't do a parade like this to commemorate the end of World War II. You do a parade like this to show force, and you are choosing the capabilities you put into that parade to send a specific message." A mere 10 years ago, China's military displays featured rudimentary copies of American equipment. But the parade revealed something different: innovative indigenous weapons, particularly in drones and missiles, reflecting how advanced their defense industrial complex has become and how rapidly it continues expanding. To analyst Kari Bingen, September 3rd, it was China's way of declaring, quote, "We can reach you. We can reach you in Guam. We can reach you undersea. We can reach you from air to surface and hold you at bay." Despite the pomp of the parade, what Beijing chose to hide may matter more than what it revealed. Though the V-Day parade gave the impression of a complete arsenal, according to many, some of China's most significant programs never made an appearance in Tiananmen Square, either because they're still in testing or too sensitive to roll into public view. China last held a major military parade in 2019, and since then, the PLA's most consequential developments have been naval. Dozens of vessels have been commissioned or are currently under construction, none of which could be displayed on Chang'an Avenue. The brand new Fujian, centerpiece of China's naval modernization, remained at her dock, conducting catapult testing and sea trials. So did the carriers Liaoning and Shandong. Of course, aircraft carriers cannot be wheeled through a capital city, but the state media's complete silence about them suggested Beijing is saving the reveal for a much more strategic moment. Also absent were the Type 75 and 76 amphibious assault ships, critical for any Taiwan scenario, and the Type 96 ballistic missile submarine, currently under development, which intelligence sources suggest could carry missiles with ranges exceeding 7,000 miles. Most conspicuous were two sixth-generation stealth fighters, unofficially designated J-36 and J-50, that stunned Western observers when they made maiden flights at the end of last year. Although they've since been spotted in multiple test flights, they have remained hidden from the parade cameras. Another program often mentioned in Western intelligence circles is the so-called reusable experimental spacecraft, which has reportedly been testing since 2020. Analysts compare it to America's X-37B orbital test vehicle, capable of staying in orbit for months, conducting the most classified of missions. Reportedly, the Chinese craft remains so secretive that even its basic appearance is unknown. The effect of these calculated omissions is unmistakable. Parades display what leaders want the world to see, not necessarily what they value most. By only showcasing select missiles and drones, and keeping carriers, submarines, and next-generation aircraft in the shadows. The true competition isn't playing out on Chang'an Avenue, but in Shanghai's shipyards, Hainan's submarine pens, and the classified research facilities scattered across the country. And now, it's only a matter of time before they're unveiled, one way or another.